This is probably like take number 60. I know I'm over exaggerating, but it's like probably take number 10 like now. Like I'm trying my best to like keep time. Like my phone doesn't have a lot of space. Kamo is like my neighbors are like making a noise like mid through the video, like somebody just bangs the door. I live quite next to a busy road, so there might be like honking. There's just a lot going on, and I feel a little bit weird just like saying like welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm not gonna do that. Just like bear with me, guys, please. Can you hear the noise? Yeah, yeah, like, so just bear with me. And I really do for anything else, like, let's just embrace it. Let's just embrace it now, because whenever I'm like traveling, there's gonna be noise too, right? So let's get used to it now. And that's also part of the reason why I feel like I'm doing these type of videos, just so that I am comfortable behind the camera. And yeah, and I feel like this one is more informative. So yeah, and I'll be talking basically about my J1 program, and on this video I'll be talking more about like agencies. I'll make another video where I talk about pros and cons and things I would do different, type of video. I don't know what I would call it just yet. So yeah, so basically, if you don't know what a J1 is, a J1 is basically a work holiday visa. So where you get to go abroad and work abroad, I mean the US, to work for 1 year. And to my knowledge, J1, when you're South African, it mainly based around like the culinary, hospitality, tourism. If you have some sort of qualification in that, you do apply. I had a certificate, and yes, you can do this with a certificate. If you have a diploma, even better. If you have a degree, even better. So for while I was editing, I realized that you either needed to be a qualified like graduate from either the culinary, hospitality, or tourism field, but that's not necessarily true. Upon more research that I did, and realized that yes, I did encounter like other Europeans who are on a J1 holiday during the summertime in the US, and they are university students. So if you're a university student, if you're a skilled professional, if you are what else, yeah, basically if you have some sort of qualification in anything, you can go for a J1 program. However, please bear in mind that sometimes you might not be placed in the field that you want to. For example, if you studied law or graduated in law and you want to go to the US, you might not necessarily be in like work in a law firm, because obviously like law in the US is like different. However, you might be put in a category like internship. Like I said, there are a few pointers that I would like to give you before I continue with the video. One, agencies are business, guys. They're meant to make a profit, so you can't be complaining about some stuff, because it's a business. If you were holding or had a business, you would want some profit at the end of the day, and some money to pay your employees for doing the job. So please keep that in mind. Point number two, accommodation. So I highly recommend, no, before I say anything about the accommodation, contract. You are more than willing to say no to a contract. So it's not like they give you a shove it down your throat, they're like, here you go. No, you are allowed to say, no, I'm not looking for that type of contract, I want this contract, right? And I feel like with that, if you not agreeing to a contract because of salary, with J1s, the more the salary, to my knowledge, the more the salary, the less other things are. And that means I'm coming to my third pointer would be accommodation. So the more the salary, they'll say like you have to look for your own accommodation. And accommodation in the US, it's quite expensive, guys. It's very expensive. And you can agree to a contract where they pay you like $15 an hour, 16, where they give you accommodation, and the accommodation is like $120, $200. It can be a lot less. And also with accommodation, guys, don't expect to be living in a lavish place. You're going to have housemates or roommates. I had housemates and I also had roommates. And guys, when we do have these housemates and roommates, let's just be nice, guys. And I would like to talk more about this on my other video. Okay, and yeah, and one other thing would be contract. Okay, and I would like to mention duration. So the applying process differs, guys. It's going to be different from mine, your cousins, a friend. It's going to be different, mainly because there's so many things that can factor into you actually landing in the US. I know friends that applied, COVID happened. Imagine they had to be home for like 2 years before they can leave. My first contract, I applied December 2018. In Feb 2019, I had already left, like I was gone already. So that was quite fast. But my second J1, I applied, I think I started applying like mid-March, and I couldn't leave. I was done applying by like maybe June, but I couldn't leave because I had to wait for my company, like the people, the J1s who were there, to leave so that I can go there and work, so I can go there and have accommodation. You see, so it all depends, like it all differs, guys. And I would like to mention that things can be different now, because my first J1 was like 2019 and my other one was like 2022. So information can be a little bit different. So do take this with a lot of, knowledge of things that can be a lot of, guys, Anyway, cool. So my first J1, it was in December. I literally went to the OBC. The agency is called OBC. I went on their website where it says contact us. I went there, clicked that button. It had information, filled up that information, and then when it said message, I was like, hi, my name is Safatli. I recently graduated with a certificate in culinary arts from Limpopo Chef Academy. If you studied at Limpopo Chef Academy, dang it. But yeah, and then I submitted, and honestly, a few days later, an agent called me and she told me all about what was going to be the necessary steps after that. And with OBC, I will like to say, guys, they literally do the whole process for you. All they need for you is just show up. When they say come here, show up, just show up. So they do have agents in all 9 provinces. So your agent months before or weeks before will say, hey, I'll be in Limpopo. I was in Limpopo. I'll be in Limpopo at this time, at this date. Please come through so I can tell you a bit more about these documents, and you have to sign them. And so you do get to do that. Go meet her or him, sign a few documents, and then after those documents, you guys go to Joburg for like 1 day. I think, I stayed with my sister in Joburg, but I think they also give like accommodation for like 1 night if you don't have family in Joburg. And I'm not too sure about the payments about the accommodation or anything like that. And then you get to have an orientation for like 1 day, half day. You get to meet other people who are like going on this journey with you, and you get to take their number, WhatsApp, have a young group, all of those stuff. And then once you get to the US, like I said, the US, sorry, the OVC and AAG work together. In that time, my first J1 in 2019, they worked together. So in South Africa, you're dealing with OVC, and when you get to the US, you're dealing with AAG. And AAG, the agent meets you at the airport, takes you to your housing, also like goes with you to your nearest like supermarkets, just so that you're familiar with like where to get groceries. And then she takes you to your workplace, and then your workplace has an orientation for you. You get to meet your head chef or your head of department. And then my first 2 weeks we were prepping, like we did the prep, and then we were eased into like cooking on behind the line, on all of that. And I would like to say that it's different, mention that it's different. When my second J1, I didn't have that orientation and with my employees, and totally different, and I'll get to explain that a little bit later. And in terms of like finances, once again, I would like to mention that the process now is quite different. So that time you only had to pay OVC 10,000 rands, but once you get to the US, you get to pay back the money for your flight. Your flight is like going to the US and coming back home. And number 2 would be your housing deposit, and obviously you need to pay rent and all of that stuff. And what else? Yeah, that's about it in terms of like finances. So I would say in total, I forgot how much that was, but in total we were, for the loan we were paying $200, I think. So if you were to take $200 and you times it by 10, you kind of get the rough estimate. I forgot, I'm really sorry, I forgot how much it was, but yeah. However, I am aware that now OVC wants like, I think 80 bands. Yeah, I think it was like 80K. That's quite a lot of money. And honestly, this is due to people who go to the US on the J1 program and they don't pay back their loans. And honestly, guys, like, you know, I feel like not all of us have like 80K just like lying around waiting on us to, like, you know, apply for OVC or AAG or whatever J1 experience you want to go through. Like, that's a lot of money. And because of that, that's when for my second J1 I used OVC, not OVC, sorry, AAG, because they still had a cheaper option, right? So with the process with AAG, so they are quite different from OVC, where OVC is like, they really like hands-on. AAG, it's kind of like everything is like virtual. Like, you're never going to meet your agent. I never got to meet my agent. I never encountered any like issues, mainly because with OVC I had documents to just reference if ever I got confused. But if you were to like email them like the picture of the documents you're struggling with, there's an agent to help you like 24/7 all the time. And yeah, so with AAG, you basically have like a portal, they call a portal, where you submit all these documents that they need, like your passport, photos, like all the documents that you'll be signing. You scan them, you post them there. So there's a lot of scanning, that needs to happen. And if you happen not to do it correctly, you can always reprint the document, and then they'll help you like sign on this part. And then in terms of like applying for the visa process, you do it yourself. There's a lot of videos on YouTube on how to apply for a J1. There's a lot of those. And then I was fortunate enough, because it was not my first time going to the US, I was fortunate enough I didn't have to go for an interview. I just needed to courier my passport and got my passport back. Make sure that you put all the necessary documents that is required for your visa. If it's not necessary, just put them there. Like, I had them in a file, like I bought like a 20-page file. The first the first was obviously the flip file. You see that where it says flip file, that they don't put anything on it. Don't put anything on it. From the first one that you put, start putting there. From the first one, I put like passport photos. Try to put one document. If it's like stapled, put them together. Try not to put back to back, right? So I bought a file, put all my documents in there, send it. And good thing is that when you pay for your, when you're sending your documents, when you pay for your visa, that visa fee has Korea funds in it. When you're applying, when you're in like Mukopani, your only option, Postnet doesn't apply. You have to go to DHL in Polokwane. So yeah, you have to go there, and after that you book your own flight tickets. I would like to say this: you book your flight tickets, and then you're gone to the US. And once you get there, that's when you get to meet your employer, you have your housing, and you start working. And in terms of like payments, they are okay. So you pay the 10,000, you pay 10,000 as your deposit. You also book your flight ticket, obviously, because you need to get to the US. And once you get there, you get to pay them back what you owe. And it was around about $3,800. So they, with the second time around with AAG, I would like to highlight, it was not like have to be like month on month. You can like plan out how you want to pay it. And for me, I used the second time around using the same method, as we called it a loan, when you have to get to the US and pay back the money. I used it because it worked for me. Some people don't like it, right? But it worked for me. It was good for me, so I used it again. I feel like I'm going to confuse myself. The first time when I was applying with OVC and AAG, they had like months, so you couldn't like go around. There were specific months that you needed to do. And then with OVC, with the second time around, just with AAG, you could like pay however you want to. Like from your first paycheck, you can like save up to like maybe $500, just pay it there. So they also on the portal have like a timeline of how your loan is going, or your payment plan is going. So once you add money, it's like, you see when you're like downloading something and you see like 100% blah blah blah. So it's like that as well. So please guys, if you do happen to use these methods of like the loan, please pay back the money. Like, just please do. It's honestly the right thing to do. And I feel like it helps those people who do not have like 80K or large amount of money. So yeah, and also I would like to mention that if you do not have culinary hospitality degree, certificate, whatever, please do just check out the AAG website. I'll put all the agencies I'm talking about down below. Just check AAG out. They have quite a lot of programs, not only for the US, they have Australia as well. Just like, obviously it depends, different country. I feel like the US, the requirements are the lowest requirements ever, but when it comes to like Australia and other countries, the requirements are quite high. So they want degrees and all of those good stuff. So please do just check out AAG and other agencies. So I mentioned OVC, AAG. There is Awesome Travel. I know friends of mine have used it. I just don't know how the payment plan works like. And there is Epic Exchange. I also don't know how the payment plan is like. I also know Placement International. I also don't know how the payment plan is like, but friends of mine have used this. And guys, please, 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 I cannot stress this enough. Be aware of scammers. Like, be aware of scammers. Like, just be aware. Like, be aware of scammers. And number two, in terms of other programs that you can go, like I said, definitely visit AAG. The way I'm like talking about AAG, they should sponsor me. Hi AAG, please sponsor a girl. Anyway, another teaching. AAG, if you go to AAG, if you are a qualified teacher in South Africa, you can go and teach in America. You don't have to be an English teacher or anything like that. You can, if you have like a teaching license in a particular thing. I know of a guy who is teaching math. He's a math and physics teacher, so he's teaching that in the US. So you can definitely do that. There is other options. If you do not live in South Africa and wish to do this program, please try and contact AAG. They will definitely help you, because I know people from India, Romania, Bulgaria, what's the other country? Spain, Venezuela. You can basically get help with AAG. They are definitely international. So yeah, and I am aware of farm work as well. There's farm work, guys, that you can look into. There is au pair options that you can look into. There's cruise ship, you hear? Yes. There's cruise ships that you can look for. What else? What else am I missing? H2B requirements are like for AAG, as far as I know. However, you can stay up to 3 years in the US. So there are quite a few information that you can use, guys. So bye, and yeah, I'll put them down below.